In this tutorial, we're going to have a look at warping full-length audio tracks. In particular, electronic music with a constant tempo from start to finish. And we're going to focus on more 4/4 beats as well, sort of house techno. Anything where you have the constant kick drum or quarter pulse on every beat of the bar. And we'll look at some different methods in the later tutorials. But really, this method we're going to look at here, I find in 90% of cases with Live 8, this is all you need to do. But for those other cases where it's not so straightforward, we'll look at that in separate tutorials. But really, all we want to do here is tell Live where the first solid proper beat starts. Usually that's where the kick drum comes in. Now in some tracks it starts right at the beginning, in other tracks it doesn't come in straight away. So we'll just have a look at a couple of quick examples. So if I drag an audio file to a clip slot, and you can see Live's had a go at auto warping this track. If we zoom in a bit, you can see it's stuck the first beat of the first bar here, and we've got a gap of a bar of silence. Now the reason it's probably done that is because the beat might just start slightly before the bar here in order for it to stay in time. Now that often does happen. Maybe there's a slight little just tiny lead in to the sound. It sort of starts just before the bar starts. That does happen. But anyway, it's given as a bar of silence, and we obviously don't want that. But as I said, this one has the kick drum starting at the start, so all we need to do is basically tell Live that this is where we want the first beat of the first bar to go. So what we do is, you can see that it's already placed a transient marker there, so it's already worked out where that starts. All we need to do is double click on that and turn it into a proper warp marker, and then we right click on that and choose set 1 here. That's telling it where the first beat goes. Then what we want to do is make it warp from that point. So if we right click again, let's hold control click if you don't have a mouse with a right click button. Then what we want to do is choose warp from here. We want to choose one of these options at least. The warp from here option might be more useful for samples where there's changes in tempo, such as older tracks that weren't done electronically. If it is an electronic track where you know the tempo is consistent throughout, then you probably want to choose this warp from here straight option, because that's at least telling Live that the track should be straight, so it'll keep it at that consistent tempo. That just might be more likely to be accurate. So we choose that, and then you can see now we've only got that one warp marker. We don't need any more because it is a straight tempo. But what I'm going to do, just one more thing, is zoom out again, and this first warp marker that was there at the start, I'm going to double click on that to delete it. Now if we select this first warp marker and we go over and have a look here at the segment BPM, now this I find is often a clue here. If we press play now at the start, you can hear it sounds pretty much in time, but if we skip forward, you can hear it's actually a little bit out. Now we could get bogged down in trying to go through and warp and stick loads of warp markers in and warp the whole track to try and get it in time, and that, you know, we could get it to work that way, but it would be time consuming and we probably don't actually need to. As I was saying, this segment BPM section here is actually a bit of a clue. When it's that close to a whole number, so you can see it says 124.05, in most cases you can pretty much guarantee that that's meant to be 124. If it's a lot further off, like it's 0.67 or something like that, then it might not be so cut and dry. But when it is that close, and a lot of the time I find it's even 0.01, or it'll say 123.99, something like that, where it's literally 0.01 of a decimal place off. When that's the case, with that first warp marker selected so that you can actually edit the field, just select it and manually override it with the whole number, so 124 in this case. And what you'll find now is if we skip forward, that's in time now. So really, a lot of the time you don't actually need to go ahead and warp anymore, because that's a constant tempo for the whole track. It stays the same, so we just need to make sure that we've got that first tempo on that first warp marker right from the start. And when you have, as you can see, that's it. We don't need to do anything else. That is now warped. So that track is ready to play in a DJ set. So really, like I said, with Live 8, I actually find this is all I need to do most of the time. Now, it might not always be that the kick starts at the beginning, and that might be where problems arise. So if we just have a quick look at this other example, which is a different dub mix of that same track, you can see we've got that gap of silence again at the start there. If we press play, now there's no kick drum there, so basically what we need to do is go through and find where the kick drum starts. So it starts here at bar 10. Now if we zoom out, you can actually see that it's placed a transient there. And you can already hear it starting to get off. What we want to do is just, same thing again, create a warp marker there, then right click, set 1 here. Okay, and then again warp from here straight, because I happen to know that's an electronic track with a constant tempo. And then again, just delete this one at the start here. Single click that. Now that's actually got it at 121 BPM. This example's probably not the best one for what I'm talking about, because Live actually got it right first time. It got the tempo right. And now if we play that, then skip forward, it's still in time. But now you see that we've got this intro here, and that's kind of all been missed off by this because we're starting here. Now that's another kind of one of the improvements in Live 8, is that we now no longer have to try and accommodate this intro in some kind of long-winded workaround. All we have to do is literally drag that warp marker to the right. And because there are no other warp markers to confuse things, it won't stretch it, it'll just move the whole lot. And that means we can just place that warp marker at number 9 and leave this start marker here at 1, and that will now start it, and it'll be in time from the beginning. So that's basically what you do if you've got some kind of intro before the beat really kicks in. So really that's it. That's the key to warping in Live 8, I find, in most cases. Really, there aren't too many cases where I actually have to get any deeper than that with the warping. But in those cases where you do, we'll look at that in the next couple of tutorials. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.